Mr. Khoong Hock Yun, President of the Singapore Computer Society. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. When I first knew of this conference, I was quite surprised that you take two very different topics, business continuity, disaster recovery, together with cloud, and put it together in one conference. And I thought that was very innovative because a lot of new innovation now is cross-functional. It takes different disciplines coming together and something new comes out of that. And so perhaps with this conference, with two different topics, we'll get new and fresh insights. Now, I'm sure we did not engineer for the disaster that happened in New York, but it was somewhat interesting that today's papers, when you open up, you see exactly disasters continuing to happen around the earth to the scale that probably many of us cannot even anticipate. And if you look at Infocom itself, Infocom has now become increasingly a utility. It is everywhere. Imagine one day when you wake up and you lost connectivity. It almost is the same feeling as losing a handphone. Suddenly a great portion of your life disappears and you have to somehow solve the problem before your life continues on. So Infocom has now become increasingly an essential service that underpins much of society. And you can see that in businesses, you can see that in economy, and because of that, of this critical role, that is imperative to ensure that these systems continue to function or to recover rapidly, especially in times of disaster. Now, disaster can of course happen for two broad reasons. One is there is a natural disaster, and the other one is human-induced. Hence, avoiding or alleviating losses from these disruptive events can be achieved with proper planning, surveillance, appropriate mitigation measures, including training of manpower. Hence, it's crucial for companies and businesses to have plans, policies, measures, and practices for disaster recovery and business continuity. In the last few years, several disaster recovery and business continuity initiatives were implemented in Singapore. And I remember in the early days of this century, one would call it, when the turned year 2000 and the internet boom came up, one of a very important event actually caused ID to take special attention on business continuity and disaster recovery. That was when one of the companies, which of course we wouldn't name, promised that it would not fail, and it failed. It was a data center, and when the data center went bankrupt, all the machines were trapped inside the data center, and people couldn't get it out, and they were about to power down the entire data center because it couldn't pay for its power bills. You just imagine the disruption to e-commerce because of that. And because of that event, it triggered us to go and start looking very closely at business continuity disaster recovery. So much work happened towards the year 2000, and as of 2004, we had worked closely with the industry and with Singapore's IT Standards Committee to develop much stronger business continuity and disaster recovery practices in both the Infocom industry as well as the end-user organizations. And this started off with the establishment of industry standards such as the SS507, which at that point in time was the world's first standard for disaster recovery and business continuity for service providers. The standard specifies stringent requirements that such service providers must possess to provide business continuity, to have a trusted operating environment, and to have companies secure recover data in the event of crisis. A simple thing like just having an inventory of what are the equipment in your data center, and should there be a problems, for at least a liquidator to know who owns what machines. The SS507 standard subsequently became one of the base documents for the ISO IEC 24762 guidelines for ICT disaster recovery services that was published in January 2008. So we were quite proud that what started off as a Singapore disaster became a Singapore standard and then became fuel for a world standard. So let me just give you some examples of companies that adopted this SS507 BCDR standard. For example, in the year 2010, NCS launched and expanded SS507 certified ISO 20000 ISO 27001 compliant integrated business continuity disaster recovery center with increased data center and disaster recovery space. So with this expansion, the center then became one of the largest disaster recovery and business continuity sites in Singapore. It was run by a team with certified business continuity planning and data center professionals, and the data center is monitored 24/7. Of course, has the usual redundant power supply to ensure constant backup in the event of power failure. It provides space for data and software as well as recovery work seats for clients' key personnel to continue their business activities in times of crisis. Other SS507 certified businesses includes Equinix Singapore as well as Singtel. Now that also extends into academia. The National University of Singapore Disaster Recovery Center was launched in 2007 to provide NUS with solid business continuity and disaster recovery capability. The center ensures availability almost 24/7 again for various faculties and schools, research centers, institutes, faculty members, staff and students of NUS. Of course, manpower training is also critical. So the certification in the IT Business Continuity Management was launched in 2010 by the Singapore Computer Service Society, supported by IDA, to ensure that professionals are equipped to handle various aspects of IT Business Continuity Management, including disaster recovery planning. The program focuses on three important components: the business continuity management, IT disaster recovery, and data center management. Today, disaster recovery continues to evolve as a standard, as a practice, as a knowledge, and takes on an additional dimension with the adoption of cloud computing. Now, according to the Singapore Cloud Adoption Study, which was commissioned by IDA in April of this year, Singapore continues to maintain its leading market position in ASEAN in terms of cloud adoption and maturity. However, in terms of cloud adoption in Asia Pacific region, we are ranked third after Australia and Japan. So we need to work harder to catch up and to overtake. The study also revealed that Singapore is an emerging regional data center hub for public and private cloud solutions, with cloud infrastructure readiness complemented by initiatives such as our next generation nationwide broadband network. Now, while some companies may view cloud computing as an added challenge in their business continuity planning, cloud adoption technologies also provide an alternative to organizations looking to adopt and streamline their disaster recovery practices. Until recently, effective disaster recovery practices could mean a full-blown duplicate IT infrastructure spread out to 2 or more different sites with all of the associated systems and storage management. As a result, the need for financial investment, substantial effort, and complexity of traditional approaches has in fact discouraged many enterprises from investing in disaster recovery planning and processes, even though these are crucial for business continuity. However, with the advent of virtualization and cloud-related technologies, this has provided new capabilities, new possibilities. It is now possible to put in place effective disaster recovery practices through cloud adoption. The solution can be starting from duplicating enterprise data to the cloud as an off-site backup storage. It can also involve creating a conduit between the customer side and the remote virtualized compute and storage infrastructure in the cloud. So to this end, Singapore is relatively well positioned to support such activities given our vibrant cloud computing ecosystem facilitated by development of major Infocom infrastructure such as the nationwide broadband network or Singapore Internet Exchange and a data center park which would be coming online soon. So what are some of the benefits in tapping a cloud computing for disaster recovery? One of the primary benefits of cloud-based disaster recovery is savings in costs. This form of recovery can reduce the capital expenditures required as it eliminates the need to invest in a remote disaster recovery facility by itself. Operational costs are charged on a pay-per-use basis. That is, the customer need only pay for the resources you actually utilize. Such savings mean that smaller companies or smaller enterprises can implement disaster recovery plans that would have been extremely costly previously. Other benefits of cloud-based disaster recovery include, number one, rapid provisioning and elasticity leading to business agility. So with minimum time required to secure cloud resources and the ability to scale up or down on requirements accordingly, businesses are able to move at a faster pace and better respond to their customers' evolving needs. Secondly, faster recovery time compared to the conventional disaster recovery, in the order of minutes or hours compared with days or weeks. As virtualized servers on the cloud are hardware independent and the entire virtualized image, include the operating system's components, can be safely and accurately transferred to the site to be recovered. This saves complicated setup and time spent to individually load patches and configurations in the conventional manner. Thirdly, multi-site availability at a much lower cost compared to conventional disaster recovery, thus ensuring a greater degree of business continuity. Established cloud service providers typically operate multi-data centers on which a disaster recovery solution can span for better redundancy and assurance. As cloud service providers operate in a much leaner fashion by aggregating demand, users pay a significantly lower premium for multi-site availability compared to building their own infrastructure while enjoying the similar type of benefits. Today, cloud services can simplify disaster recovery processes by utilizing cloud-based software to automate entire recovery and migration procedures. Upon initiation of a disaster failover, organizations and businesses can continue with their services without manual intervention. Furthermore, it also facilitates non-disruptive testing, whereby recovery plans can be tested without disrupting production systems. As a result, organizations gain confidence in that their disaster protection will meet their business objectives. Now, that said, business and enterprises will still need to factor in several considerations when adopting cloud-based disaster recovery. For instance, they will need to have a necessary bandwidth and the network capacity to redirect users to the cloud in the event of a disaster. Hence, that's why the National Broadband Network project is one of the first things that we had to put in place. This may be mitigated if businesses offer their services over this next-gen NBN, which offers ultra-high-speed broadband of 1 gigabits per second and beyond nationwide. Cloud service providers will also need to ensure that data can be securely transferred and users authenticated properly. Government agencies are also exploring the use of cloud for disaster recovery. For example, we have a proof of concept porting of CoreNet, an e-submission system disaster recovery site, to a cloud environment that is currently being undertaken by the Building and Construction Authority, or BCA. CoreNet, also known as a Construction and Real Estate Network, is an internet-based system that provides for the electronic production, submission, tracking, and approval of building plans in Singapore. It is currently hosted at the government data center and is utilized by over 15 government agencies, departments, and statutory boards across more than 8 ministries. Due to its highly irregular load and usage patterns, CoreNet itself lends itself well to leverage on the scalable nature of cloud computing. This proof of concept project thus aims to explore the overall feasibility, technical challenges, and cost benefits in operating the disaster recovery sites on the cloud. The experience gained and the data gathered during this project will also prepare BCA for the possible future migration of CoreNet's production system to the cloud environment. Here, I would also like to take this opportunity to announce that there's an upcoming launch of ID's number 6 call for cloud computing proposals, where you can obtain cloud resources that may be used to pilot cloud-based disaster recovery efforts with participating cloud service providers. The call will be launched on 5th November this year and will close on 15 January next year. More details of this call for cloud computing proposals can be found on ID's website, and I invite interested industry members to apply. To conclude, business continuity and disaster recovery planning is essential for any modern organization to operate and function smoothly. The advantages are unlimited, ranging from better protection of data, hardware and software, preparedness for the organization and enterprises for potential disaster, and to sustain productivity. On this note, I wish you an enjoyable, insightful, and fruitful time at this conference. Thank you.